Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Legacy Holders. I think this one we are going to stem off the topic of love and legacy. It's a continuation from the other episode, but I'm going to give it from another perspective. I talk about love and legacy from friendships and from relationships, but as I stare at the computer screen and see all my wonderful friends, we have another love, and that's a love for our country. Um, we have some veterans. We have served in some ways that many of us have never even thought about. I'll speak upon myself, retired Air Force, Army vet, and currently serving as a civil servant for the Air Force. So, we're doing our thing for our love for our country. I might as well just introduce everybody just a little bit. Co-host Rossi, she Army vet out there. We have Mr. Keith. He is civil servant for the Coast Guard, Army, and even though he didn't wear the uniform, I just want you guys to know that he put that uniform and served overseas and represented the same way we would have. I feel like we all take the same oath. And then we got Ray, our Navy vet over there. Chilling and civil servant for the VA. So y'all need anything done, y'all holler at him and him and Mr. Keith. They got some side businesses going on. Well, we all do, but we're gonna have an episode of business and legacy and finance and legacy where we'll all, get that stuff out and rolling. But let's get to the continuation from episode 1. Gender roles. What does that look like for you guys in a relationship? We got mine and Rossi's kind of review off the last episode, so we kind of want your guys' input. As a man, and I love the age difference, so I want to see, what do you think your role is in a relationship?
I want to hear Mr. Keith first.
Okay, Mr. Keith.
Excuse me. Okay. I think I have taken the role as a provider. 100%. I believe that was what I was put here, and when I married, and that was my role. That was my responsibility, and I take that on with pride. So, and that means pride of ownership, pride in working hard, providing for the family. I am in that. I do I think I was described. I do the normal male roles and responsibilities around the house. I do no cooking, no domestic work around the house at all. I stay away from that. It has worked for me not doing it, but anything else from the outside to taking care of and providing for the family. I think that is my role as a man.
Okay. Rossi, we're not gonna say nothing. We just gonna let them go.
Rich, I'm just shaking my head.
Okay. Rich, what's your role?
To hit on, it's funny, Mr. Keith is so right. To hit on what he was saying, provider, protector, traditional. Mm-hmm. But where my angle switches it is that I started off like that. I've always started off like that. Protector, provider, being there, making sure the home is taken care of, anything mechanically, this, that, and the third, took care of. Now, dating in this new age, a lot of these women, the roles have been reversed. I cook a lot more. You know what I'm saying? I clean. I do a lot of stuff where I've met some women. I'm like, so what roles are we at? Are we I'm protector and provider, and I'm cooking and cleaning. Where do we stand? You know what I'm saying? So it's I've been in a relationship to where I had to go on both angles with that. But then to go back to my original relationship years ago, not to say no names, but tradition. I'm tradition. I'm comfortable, protector, provider, taking care of home, making sure. But when you say provide, not just financially.
Hmm.
I'm saying you provide financially, emotionally, physically, mentally, in all different aspects. Because I think what I've learned with a lot of women, yeah, you can provide financially, but it's more to it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take on it. When you understand that, it's a different approach. That's just my take. But as a man, protect and provide, I'm with Keith on that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I've never feel challenged that um, I wasn't providing in any certain way that wasn't saying, like I said, I don't do domestic work. I don't put it down, but just something I never did. Now, I say I don't, but one thing I do like doing in the house
Polishing
is
the floors.
polishing the floors.
Yeah. Mhm.
Lisa knows me.
Yeah.
It's polishing the floors and vacuuming. I
Hmm.
love doing those things. And I have days of the week I do it, you know?
And that's
So
the
it's not that I think it's beneath me. It's just I'm more of a traditional in that respect.
Okay, so I have a question with gender roles, and it's going to piggyback off of something that you said, Ray. So you said well, both of you guys, you said in dating now and dating then, right? When, and this is your purpose and intent, right? When in a relationship do you implement those gender roles, right? Because there's a difference, or do you feel there's a difference with dating and marriage? And I'm only saying that, and to give y'all some content to why I'm bringing it up. Ray and I dated when we were really young. So those gender roles that he was talking about, like what you express, Keith, in your marriage,
Hmm.
Rich and I was doing that while we were dating. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So what and granted we had other reasons why we had to do it, but we're adults now and we could talk real conversation. When you're dating with purpose and intent, are you having these conversations up front, to say, as a man and as a woman, dating or not, this is what we need to do? Because I was told at some point that in a dating relationship that I'm not obligated to you. But I feel like when you date with intent, there is an obligation, right? So do we not express these gender roles in the dating phase and you only do it during marriage? Like, conversation to be had. These are those expectations that we need to understand. Sorry.
I personally think yes. When you're dating with intention, absolutely. You air those type of things. You get a feeling for what this person feels about their role and how they're going to contribute. Uh, what is the level of expectation of and lead from right on and right lead right into financially. You don't want necessarily and it depends on how close you are at the moment with the individual, your exact salary and how much you make and where you do your money, how you spend your money, but you have an idea of what their role, how they participate or not participate, and just their expectation. Yes, I would say in the dating, get those things. I say
totally,
air it out right out
totally.
front. Yes.
Okay.
And to hit off what Keith was saying, so it's you want to date with intention to be married if you're intentionally looking to date. If you're dating with a purpose, a wise man once told me you're married before you're married. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
you're dating as if you're doing the things like you just said, Keith, where you're doing these things, you're learning, you're asking questions. How do you look at this or how do you look at that in perspective so you know how to move accordingly with this, your partner, your significant other. But it depends on what level you're dating also. If you just started dating this woman or dating this guy, it's your second date, like you said, you don't want to give them your whole life story, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the growing pains.
Right.
You got to go through the growing pains, and I think from a dating perspective and being married, they're one and the same if you're dating with intention You know what I mean? Because you want to show them this is what I'm bringing to the table. This is what it's going to be. If not, what's the purpose? You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of my take on it. So.
Okay. Rossi?
So I have a question. And it's really targeted towards Ray.
I'm gonna drink on that one.
No, and the only reason
Me-
is because I
Me
was there
too.
during y'all's dating with intention period.
Mhm.
Actually, it's kind of for both of y'all. Looking back, do you feel like there were some things that maybe you should have asked questions or talked about that didn't get talked about, especially when we're talking about expectations and intent?
Niche, you want to go first or you want me to?
I think Ray and I literally talked about everything. Like, even when we used to joke around and we was acting like we wasn't dating and we was like, we friends, we were really friends. We were roommates. That's what we said. We were really, okay, give the content on our situation. We started talking. I don't know how personal you want to go into it, Rich. But
it don't bother me. I'm an open book. I'm fine.
Okay. So to tell you how like genuinely open we are and friends, like Rich had to deploy and he had custody of his brothers. And we were what, a few months into dating? Like, if that.
Mm-hmm.
And
even 3-4 months. You're right.
3-4 months into dating, and he needed somebody to watch his brothers, and he was going to send them back to New York, but the kids were already down in Virginia. And I literally was like, yo, I'm here. We're roommates. The kids know me. The kids know me. I don't want you to get kicked out the military. I don't want the kids to go back to New York. They didn't want to go back to New York. So I signed his page too, so he could stay in the service and deploy and go on. So that was our purpose at that time. And being that was our purpose, our intents on anything we did, we had no choice but to be honest. He had his kids, I had my kids. So we were an open book about everything. If there was a little clouded notion to say maybe where we didn't really have great clarity on is as long as we were together, like when we were going to get married, like when that was going to happen. I think that everything was just so natural that I assumed it was going to happen and just knew, like I expected him to know, like, this is it. I'm not going to tell a funny story on why we didn't get married, but I'm gonna let him tell that part. But if there was a clouded topic, I think that was it. But I think it was clouded because, we was young. We were young,
but y'all were already
married
in
before
that marriage mindset. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. So the head of Nisha was saying, I totally agree with what she's saying. We were open book with each other, and the thing was, it was a win-win for each other. We moved on survival at first because she was helping me, I was helping her. We were together, but we was like, okay, I got these boys, we got these kids, roommates, like she said, but we literally was like, hey, can you help me with this? And I will say to you, and still to this day, Niche, and I'll say it live and all, when the Navy gave me an ultimatum, sign a page 2, I need to do a family care plan, or I out the military because my brothers, I had nobody to watch them for me to go on a 6-month deployment. I told Nisha the whole situation, and she, no question, she was like, Rich, Ray, I got him. And when she said that, it was so easy because I was very tight. I got my brothers from death. My oldest brother got killed when I was overseas, and that's how I got custody of him. And it was already, I'm on the fence because here I am, 19, 20 years old, trying to raise a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old. And the judge said, I'm only doing this because you had, and at the time, I had been married. I did the whole military marriage, BAH, all that stuff. I was just doing it for the wrong reasons. It was my high school sweetheart. But that's how I got my brothers, because the judge was questionable about the whole military thing. And when that didn't come back and it bit me, you know what I'm saying? And it came to a head, I didn't know nothing. 43, 44-year-old Ray now will talk to 20-year-old Ray and say, hey, thank you, Nisha, because she helped me raise my brothers. And I knew that and I appreciated her. I think our biggest thing was, like she said, the cloud was, we didn't know which angle to go. Should we get married? Should we do this? We were just making it work. You know what I'm saying? So correct me if I'm wrong, Nish.
No, you're right. And that's why I'm like, these conversations need to be had. I mean, the family, the village jokes around and be like, damn, if we would have had it right, we would have been married for over 20 years now. Like, where would we be? You know, things like that. And I think that when you don't have these conversations, you miss opportunities. But also, all three of you guys also say, and I say as well, like, things happen for a reason, right? Yeah. So my purpose probably during those times was to be there for X. And then our purpose is for later on down the line, we are where we at now. So we can have those conversations and give back, right? Build that, put a platform together to say, you can go through things and we can learn from our lessons, right? And that's why we're kind of here. So, okay, that was Rossi's question. Let's kind of move on to, we're taping late, so all of us got to go to work in the morning. So let's move on to the next question. So you and Keith explained about being a man and what your gender roles are. So the candid conversation I had with a particular person was, you guys would be considered a top 1%. Rossi and I are trying to figure out what is the top 1% and what really makes you qualified to be a top 1%er. And where do you feel they are? Like, do you consider yourself a 1%? I want to say, do you consider yourself a part of the top 1%? Sorry, I'm changing the way I speak because when I rewatched the video, I kept saying 1%er, and I'm like, sounds like a religious thing. But do you consider yourself to be a part of the top 1% of men? Or does that really exist? Because Rossi said it doesn't exist.
Well, I personally feel that I'm a high value man. Okay. I think that 1%, that whole social media and all that got misconstrued, the whole Kevin Samuels and all that nonsense.
Look at Keith,
like I think me and Keith are both high value men, because not only we protect, we provide, not only just financially, emotionally, stability, all of that. It's not just, I think social media say, oh, he got to make 6 figures. He got to make 100,000. He's a high value man. He makes 6 figures. That doesn't define, money ain't everything. Don't get me wrong. You need to survive, but that doesn't define what's a high value man. What am I bringing to the table? How can I be the man for this family? Can I move in intention to make sure we're good as one? That's my take on being a high value man. Keith, go ahead, talk to me.
I'll be honest with you. I never even thought about it until maybe recent maybe is a year to 2 years ago, simply because of what Ray just was talking about, Kevin Samuels. He has now he's deceased. He's passed on.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. He has a big following. And it did come out about men, the 1%er. But it was really tied to, I think, more of a financial position.
Yes, I agree with you.
And that's where it stemmed from. That it seems now the young women are looking for their quote, the high value man who makes at least at a very minimum $100,000.
Yeah.
Okay. To put that in perspective, if you follow, which I did follow him for a many months ago, most Black men do not hit their stride financially until they're in their middle to late 40s. And I don't care where they have a college degree or not. So it is very hard to make that standard high value man. Now, even you take areas of, say, California, the Black Mecca, Atlanta, the Black people, Black men are they're progressing a lot faster than here in our local area. But as a general rule, as a average, most men, Black men, do not hit a real good salary into in their mid 40s or as late as 50s. And then there's a very small percentage that will ever hit six figure. That's just life. So if you're basing it strictly high value, the 1%er, because of income, it is truly that it's a fraction of a percent of men who actually probably would meet that category.
Okay. So this 1%, it was based off of income, but I'm gonna give you some of the qualifications he said.
Okay.
And you might be checking some of the boxes. You know what I'm saying? Both of y'all. The wife doesn't have to work. She doesn't do any physical labor. They take care of everything, a flat tire. And it was even an example of when this person had to deploy and be gone for 6 months, he was making sure all protocols was done at home. So that way the wife, it was like things would be done as if he was here, but even though he's not here. That's what makes you a top 1%. And it just baffled me because it sounded a little controlling to me, you know.
That's not reality.
But this is what he was feeding. So now he's speaking to women like me. Lana was there. Keith, you don't know Lana, but I'll say right, they know Lana, right? Lana was there, and we were talking about dating in our age, right? And Lana and I was like, man, we're retired. We got civil service jobs. You know, we're educated. Men, they're not. There's an issue with connecting with them. And then he goes, you know, we were like, oh, we're independent. And he was like, that's the problem right there. Y'all want to be independent. He's like, that's called adulting, right? And then I'm like, okay, so let's redefine independence, right? So we're adulting. That still doesn't negate the fact that this 1% of men you're trying to tell us about, y'all really don't exist. And it bleeds into another topic, because if we go off of income, right? The last relationship I was in, that person made 6 figures and he had no emotional intelligence, right? So is that a qualification to be part of the 1%? Or is the 1% is just all materialistic providing, saying I check the box to do this, but then emotionally we're disconnected, right? So as long as I say you don't need a want for nothing and you don't have to do anything, then everything else is like, I control it. Like, and let me rephrase that. I'm not going to say the person didn't have emotional intelligence. From a relationship standpoint, maybe they felt like they did everything in the relationship, but didn't realize they missed the target. Like they might have hit the box in the corner, but just to say good enough, I did it. But that maturity portion of it, to if the 1% really did exist outside of a financial, is a little bit of everything. What would that be? Once again, if it exists, because this is what some men think they are, a high value man, because he did say that, I'm a high value man. That's part of the 1%. What are these qualifications from a male perspective of what a 1%er is? A male to be in the 1%.
But this is what I mean. Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. But you have to go back to the root of where this is coming from. He was a fashion guy. You know what I'm saying? He was a fashion guy that a lot of things I agree with him, a lot of things I disagree with him. But I will say that he hit some good points, and then he said some stuff. I'm like, where is that? In life, you can't go and say, okay, a 6-month deployment, you're able to control your household make sure the bills, all this. I've been through that. I experienced that. Nisha, if I didn't have you, I would have crumbled. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say the money wasn't the issue, but I had to put trust in you to say, okay, yeah, so that takes away from me being a high value man because I trusted my significant other, my woman, to hold me down while I'm on a 6-month deployment. I could barely get an email or this, that, and the third. No, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't, certain perspectives that he said, you can't put, that's why I say it's not reality. You know, nowadays where a lot of women, it's the financial thing, like Keith was hitting on, that, oh, he makes 6 figures, he make $100,000, he's that guy. But like you just said, you could be making all the money in the world, but lonely and cold and miserable because it's not about after the money, what is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's really,
because the money
Nobody.
part, money was
second.
only, well, it should really, my thought, it should be used in the sense of just buying you time and the things you need. It's not a measure as to what really makes you a man or a woman, because nowadays there are just as many, there's actually more successful Black women
and
than
men,
there are men right now.
it's down.
So, I mean, the women, you women have come a long ways and gone beyond a lot, the average Black man. You know, so high value, basing it strict on income, no. It's that doesn't really make him a high value man, in my sense. But in the sense of what the youthful group are saying, that they want the high value man, they're strictly basing it on income.
Yeah.
So in other words, nobody wants to date a wealthy a-hole.
Absolutely not. And
Well, you're right. They don't want to with
Yeah.
attention, but a lot of these young women will do it for the materialistic side of it.
I get that. Well, we're talking about that 1%.
Yeah, but
And
go back.
how Mr. I was going to or talking to Mr. Keith saying that 1% is mostly financial.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So
I'd rather deal with somebody that's making $200,000, $100,000 a year, and I can have a conversation with, and we can talk about building, and we can. I want to. What I say last time, I want to walk beside you, not behind you.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I want to be your partner.
Yes. You got
and
to
I think that's what makes you part of the 1%. When you could say, "Oh, my partner is right there," whether wife, girlfriend. I feel like marriage is just a
Partnership.
legal document that protects your physical interest, right? It shouldn't change how your relationship is any different. Whether I'm your girlfriend or I'm your wife, I'm still moving with the same intention, and it's what we have planned like later on. Legally, it's just protecting our assets, right? And if you can have your partner beside you and y'all are doing what you're doing, then that makes you part of the top 1%. And I think it's when your partner is with you, that's 1%. You know, to me, if there had to be a category, and that's for both male and female in either thing. Well, then this will kind of roll into our last portion of it, and it's the expectations, right? We have these relationships with people, and there are some unwritten expectations that we just say how it is, bleeds back into gender roles and all this other stuff. But then we have expectations that we need to have those conversations about, because even those unspoken expectations, you might have to have the conversation within yourself to see if the person is capable to even handle those unspoken expectations. Like Keith, you said domestication wasn't your thing. But you have to look at yourself to make sure, is your wife able to be domesticated and do the roles? Because I think what happens is we'll put ourselves in these situations and be like, well, I'm marrying her and she's supposed to cook. And then you're like, well, damn, she can't cook. Well, you should have had that conversation with yourself. You know, I just think, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the unspoken expectations in relationships. And I'm going to start off with the chivalry. Like, I just think that, and we won't even talk about finance because it just depends on who you are. Your relationship is going to be a little different. The way I was raised, yeah, the man paid all the bills, but I'm in a situation to where I don't need a guy to pay my bills, right? I'm going for the unspoken, the small gestures, like take the trash out, open the door for me, bring the groceries in the car when I pull up. You know what I'm saying? Like little things, kind of knowing my feelings. And if I'm having a bad day, you send roses to the job. Like little, I just expect that at some point. I'm not saying every day. I'm just saying at some point in a relationship, like some of those things should happen. And just like for me, my unspoken expectations is you don't have to worry about cooking dinner. Like you don't have to worry about doing the laundry. If I have access to the finances, I'm going to pay the bills and make sure that they're done while you go do what you do. Just I'm going to take care of the kids. You get up at 5 a.m. I got to be up at night changing Pampers and breastfeeding. My sleep is going to be all one. There's just some unspoken expectations that there are. But obviously, we need to have those conversations anyway because people they don't get the point. So that's my 2 cents. Rossi, what is some of your 2 cents about unspoken expectations?
You pretty much, I don't know. You need to get out my head. That's hard for me because of the current relationship that I'm in. So it's
but it's just but that should apply to any man. It doesn't matter what relationship, whether I'm dating Ray, whether I
feel like it is kind of dependent on the person that you're with. But just like you just said with Mr. Keith, like you got to check and make sure that, you don't do the domestic thing.
But these are what we're saying. We're speaking about the unspoken ones that from our perspective, right? But then we know we need to have that conversation about things. Because maybe they shouldn't be unspoken anymore because gender roles change, like Ray said.
That's what I'm saying. I really feel like it depends on, for me, I feel like it depends on the person. Like the relationship that I'm in now, he's younger than me. He's from Louisiana. He was raised different than how I was raised and how I saw my mama and her husband and my grandparents. Like he didn't see those things. So I can't expect him to know, I can't have the expectations of him that I may have had with somebody that I know was raised kind of similar to how I was raised.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I got you. Keith?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think bottom line, we are a product of our environment.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line. And when I say, I don't do those things, it's not something I just put out. I'm just not going to do this. It's not like that. It's just what has worked in our relationship. By that same token, there's nothing in the house that needs to be taken care of that doesn't get care. And it's not that now cooking, I just don't do it. Don't know how to do it. I can't cook an egg. It's just being honest. So I stay out of that, but we're just a product of what our environment. I'll go back to that. And there are a lot of men that are very good cooks. Some, and a lot of the chefs are, male that are exceptional in that area. But defining roles, should that be talked about? I guess it is something. I don't know if I would say any in-depth conversation about it. It's just maybe, what do you feel about this? Or what is your level of expectation? Are you looking for me to do all the cooking? And our relationship, I don't think it ever came up. It didn't happen.
It's happening.
They had unspoken expectations.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Ray?
Well, communication is key. You know what I'm saying? It really comes down to that. A closed mouth don't get fed.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, go on what Keith was saying, he's letting you know, hey, I don't cook, I don't do this. She has to respect that and understand that. And then where do y'all come and find that mutual agreement?
Mm-hmm.
With happy medium at. You know what I'm saying? And with me, it's certain things that I'm a traditional guy, but you have to be flexible. And they don't know, Rossi was saying, every relationship is different. You know what I'm saying? So you're dealing with a new person, and to hit on what Keith said and what you said, Niche, you are a part of the environment. Louisiana, New York, Texas, Virginia, whatever, you had a different upbringing. So you may say, I like this, but they may not like it. You know what I'm saying? So where can we find that happy medium where we can agree to disagree and come to a compromise? Communication, consideration, and compromising. You put those three together, you're going to be all right.
Okay, so you gave us the ingredients. So there's the where, but when's the when? When is the right time? It's like we previously said in some part of the conversation. You don't want to do it on day 2, right? A year later.
When you
2
both
years later.
when you both have communicated that you want to move in purpose, like you're pushing for something, where if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're like, hey, where do we stand? Where are we going? And it's up in the air and it's questionable, yeah, don't put all your ducks out in a row yet. But if you both are saying, so hypothetically, you got Billy Bob and Mariah, right? If they're together and they're saying, okay, I want this. Where do we stand? And Mariah's not ready for that. She should communicate that, and vice versa. But if they both on the same page and y'all saying, you know what, we're moving with purpose. You know, you can't plan and say, okay, we're gonna get married tomorrow with this and third, but just starting to do things together as one. Then you build and you grow, and that's the growing pains that I was talking about earlier. That you have to learn each other before you go and just, oh, this is us. And this nothing's ever perfect because a marriage is you're always learning each other because people change over time.
I want you to refrain from that. And it's not marriage. Like, I think the problem is we set our goal up for marriage when marriage is the end game after you did all the work, right?
Yeah.
So everything that we're talking about is built within the relationship, right? Marriage is just solidifying the legal hold or rights to the materialistic things that you bonded together. What we're talking about is not materialistic, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's the problem right there. It's the work to feel like, I feel like when I step into anybody's life, I am obligated to play a role in any factor. And we don't take seriously the footprint that we leave in people's lives when we come around, right? Let's use you and I as a perfect example. You and I broke up. Was I supposed to stop talking to Rossi, whose kids I adore and she adores my kids and your kids as well? No, right? But when we're only focused on that one thing, marriage, and it doesn't work, what about everything else that you sat there and touched, right? And that's one of the biggest parts in relationships. Like, we're not thinking about all the things that we need to make this cake, right? Marriage is the cake. All the other ingredients you need to get, you can't get the cake without the egg. I mean, you probably can. It might be nasty. I mean, you miss an ingredient, your cake is not going to come out, right? Something's going to be missing. So that's the end result. I think trying to understand when to have that conversation, being mature enough to have that conversation. But what does emotional intelligence look like at your guys' perspective, right? Like, to have these conversations. With your example that you used, right? If somebody is not ready to move on in this situation, I can tell you folks have presented their representative really well. Like we date a lot of people's representative all the time. And then when shit hits the fan, then they're like, oh, I'm not ready. Who the hell I've been dating this whole time? Because the person that I've been dating, the person that you have put on the front line for me to have a purpose and intent, it's very misleading. So where does emotional intelligence come into play? Like, how do you guys look at that when it comes to being in relationships? Whether that relationship will lead towards a genuine, true friendship or leads to marriage, or just you just don't be friends at all.
My personal opinion with that, Niche, is it leads to that when a person is comfortable enough to be transparent and vulnerable, and where vulnerability and transparency go hand in hand with communication. Because when you're transparent, you're able to say, hey, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. This is me. Take it how you want it. You know what I'm saying? When you guys on that type of time, that's where the growth begins. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, representatives, you could date and this person can do this and do that. But when you're able to see that vulnerability where I could say, hey, I'm not Mr. Right. I'm not Mr. Perfect. I make mistakes. You made a mistake. Let's build off of that. How can we fix it? That's where the growth begins. You know what I'm saying? That's just my take on when I know that, okay, now we're going somewhere with this. You know what I'm saying? That's just me.
Okay. Keith?
I think it's just, again, like Ray says, it's dating with a purpose. That vulnerability, you got to be willing not to put your best foot forward, but also that best foot needs to be your real self. It needs to be who Keith is. And, we all, when you date, you want always to have a good impression of the person, but it's got to be real for it to be lasting and everlasting. It's just no way around. You can put it out that you're just this, and that. But in reality, within a year or two or sooner, you're going to find a different person if that's not really the person that they're saying they were.
Definitely.
It's just open, honest communication. And back to that dating for a purpose, or straight up someone saying, hey, look, I'm just out here for a good time. Let it be known. Don't really take anybody's heart and just break it. Don't go into the relationship like that. I'm just trying to get what I can get. You got to be real for it to work.
And I think when we say come in with good intent, understand you need the bad to be good. That's the way the world works, right?
Yeah.
Part of you, because we are not perfect. I need your imperfections. Your imperfections is what makes the best of you, because that's what gets you to keep. I don't want to say changing, but redefining, giving you another perspective, giving you the capability to look at things in another perspective is the fact that you're coming in with your bad, because we're human. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect, and we don't know what everybody else is thinking. And that's why we need to do things wrong in order for us to see those different perspectives happening. Rossi, what's your input?
So you were just talking about seeing those imperfections. I feel like those imperfections are really what can possibly grow a relationship. Show me, like, I don't want you to just tell me this. I need to see it. And then I can look and say, okay, well, this is where he falls short. I'm good at this. I can help him be better in this area. I fall short here. He's good at this. He can help me be better in that area. I feel like seeing those imperfections earlier on can help growth.
Yes.
But they can also tell you, maybe I don't want to deal with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, like, I don't want to be 2 years down the line. We made plans. We're going to move to Washington State and we're going to retire there and we're going to do this and that. We're buying houses in different places. And then we made these plans and then you show me your representative and then the real you comes out and it's not even anything close to what your representative was. I've wasted 2 years and probably a couple bottles of tequila.
Okay. I think we touched on the topics, good enough. Got some male perspectives on what it is. Great segue into brunch and legacy at Rich's house on Saturday.
Let's do it. I'm hosting.
I think we could kind of focus more on love and legacy and maybe the dating aspect. Like what it's like dating this time in our age, being in our 40s and having kids, whether under 18, over 18, having grandkids, having a job. What's out there? Like how technology.
What is out there?
No. Yeah, but we can have that conversation, like how technology is affecting how we meet people. Like we talk about redefining the village just for our legacy keepers, but then in how community is affecting them, but then us, in order for us to have our adulting, life. I call this the part 2 for most of us, except for Keith. Those conversations outside of the podcast of, the 1% and the TikToks of you can't take me to Olive Garden, because that's beneath me. I love their soup and salad. So you can take me there all day long. I mean, I don't care. But
get excited about Cheesecake Factory.
Listen. So we need to really be real and genuine. Those people who are very true to themselves, who are not putting their representative out. Those people who have the capability to be like, oh, I'm dating you as my partner and you got your table, but hold up, let me pull, not a chair, but let me pull my table aside your table and we could extend it. You know what I'm saying? We can make it wider and longer, right? If you don't have the capability of doing that, that's what you're seeing with I don't need to date somebody making 6 figures because I make 6 figures on my own. Like, I feel like you can't ask of somebody what you don't have the potential to do or you're not doing, right? And when I say potential, people's like, oh, I can. But have you executed? Are you going to school? Are you trying to start your business? Like, because if you're just sitting in the house on Facebook dating, trying to find you a come up, that's not potential, right? That is trying to find a meal ticket. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference. I ain't saying we 1%, but what I'm saying is there is a difference in how we are fielding in this game. And I just say I'm very blessed to have you guys come on board and talk about this stuff with us. And hopefully we can just reach one person. We have done our job to have this genuine conversation, out there. Other than that, I'm going to say thank you. If y'all got something to say, y'all can say it. And then.
Well, I'll say this, Tanisha, I appreciate you inviting me to this forum. Mm-hmm. And you have a link to all three of us in a different way. Yeah. I don't go back 23 years with you, but we come up on 10 years. So. And
most
so
definitely.
You have that common denominator. You are that common denominator, and you're a very special person. So keep it up.
I will appreciate it.
Bringing the legacy together.
Yes. And Rosalind, I'll be just getting to know you. I've heard your name. Like I said, I've been around now. So, but it's good to meet you for the first time. And looking to continue on.
Can't wait to meet you in person.
Absolutely. And Rich, hang in there, bro. Take care of yourself. And congrats on the house again.
Y'all gonna be seeing each other because he gonna mess up on something.
I'll be calling you. We gonna talk. We'll talk.
All right.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I really enjoyed this. Thank you, Niche. And they don't want to keep saying this is. Thank you, and I'm honored to be here. Excuse me. I had a little cough. I'm trying to get over it. This is amazing. I appreciate you. Bottom.
Bring some more people on. Let's get some other views.
My final thought is
I will.
there is no 1%. Y'all have a good night.
All right.
On that.
All right. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next episode.
All right. Take care.
Thank you now.